Do you guys ever have those moments when you just feel like you're super compatible with your spouse? We are off to our weekly morning breakfast meeting. I had my alarm set for 7, and then I pushed snooze like 5 times, and now it's 8.
And I still feel like I'm in a walking dream, because you know when you dream up to the point where you wake up and then you're just like groggy for the next like hour or two after you wake up.
Well, hopefully you're dreaming of me.
No, I don't. You might have been in it, but.
Oh. Someone's in our normal spot over there. I'm like trying to lay off the biscuits and gravy. I had too many potatoes, so I gave her some, and she had too much gravy, so she gave me some. Do you guys ever have those moments when you just feel like you're super compatible with your spouse? Every once in a while.
Those fleeting moments.
Today's business meeting, we talked about kids and some things that they're wanting to learn, or in some cases, things that we want them to learn, upcoming travel plans, and what we should do about our yard now that the weather's getting nicer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's the cabin we're staying in.
Whoa, that looks really cool. Whoa.
Hot tub.
That's a really cool view.
Is that gonna work for you?
Yep.
I'm here at the coffee shop trying to write an outline for a video that I'm working on, but we're getting low on coffee beans, so they gave me these ones to sample here. It's a really big decision because I'm trying to decide whether to buy 50 pounds of it or not. It seems a little weird to be spending $275 on coffee, but 2 things. One is, this is about a year's worth, and we drink a lot of coffee. And 2 is, look, they gave me a punch card and they gave all the punches, so I get a free coffee next time I go for buying 50 pounds. At that coffee shop, I started outlining this new video idea that I have. And you've heard me allude to this in the last couple weeks. It's kind of a scary project that I'm actually pretty excited about, but it's also like really, really close to home and I don't want to do it. Well, anyways, the reason why I did it today was because on Monday mornings, the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've started this meeting that I'm going to, which we're calling like Creative AA, Creative Alcoholics Anonymous, which is not a super adequate name, but basically it's for people, just some friends of mine, that we're like addicted to non-creativity. So we're procrastinators and we put off projects. And this is one of those projects I think I would have put off for months or years, however much I could get away with. But because I told these guys I'm going to do that project this week, it made me like schedule a time to actually go and do the project. So I feel good about it. I finished the rough draft outline. It's just the starting point, but I'm going to report to the guys on Monday that I did it. We are gonna go talk to, whoa, where are all these scones going? We are gonna go talk to Filia right now. As I think you guys know, our kids all take piano lessons. And she's saying she wants to quit. So we're gonna see if that's for real. So we talked to Filia, and she said she didn't want to do piano lessons. And I asked her why. And she didn't really know why. I guess I realized that was like a complicated question to ask an 8-year-old. But when I asked her enough, I said, well, do you like the lesson? She said, yeah. And I said, do you like playing at home? And she kind of said, yeah. I said, do you like practicing? She said, no. She said, I don't want to have to practice every day. So we said, well, what if you don't have to practice? Then would you want to take lessons? And she said, yeah, I would.
It's hard. I realize there's this notion that paying for something when your kid's not going to practice isn't worth it.
Because the whole reason why they're playing is to get better. And practicing puts them on this track where they get better at a certain pace.
So having to ask the question, is it still worth it, $30 worth it every week for your kid to have 30 minutes with a skilled piano teacher who will inspire her to like and play music?
Which it's more important for me that our children get exposed to cool music, that it might tap into their like desire and their inspiration and wanting to and believing that they're able to. That's way more important to me than that they feel or get accomplished so that they can make it into, I don't know how even you would grade music, like a certain level or a certain scholarship or a certain amount of money or whatever other, however ways you
I've
can
had to
gauge
ask
music.
these same questions about myself because I take guitar lessons with the same teacher for years now, and I really enjoy them. There's times where I haven't enjoyed them as much and then times where I have. But at the end of the day, I have to ask this question, do I enjoy it enough to pay it? Like, do I enjoy it? Does it bring me life?
Or is it worth it for you?
Is it worth it for me? Yeah, it's like a very personal question. And right now, it is. But I don't really have this attainable goal in my mind that I'm going to become some great musician. I just enjoy it.
I think a lot of people in your shoes would think that it's not worth it because you're not going to make money at it and you're not going to be famous by the time you're 40. So then it's like...
yeah, time's running out for that one.
So then it's like, what's the point? Where it's like, if it's bringing you enjoyment,
right?
What better use is there for our money or for lessons?
Do I feel like more of a whole person when doing it? And I think, yes, I do feel that way.
Because we think music is valuable, just like enough. You don't need, like, there's these side effects that you can get from music, like fame or money. But why can't music, like, just be enough? So now we gotta contact our music teacher and be like, hey, are you okay with teaching her without her practicing at all? And I hope he is, because it's 30 minutes for him either way.
Yeah.
But I think that could inspire even a different way of teaching for him, where if you know that you only have 30 minutes with the kid and they're not going to like just practice, maybe it's a different type of lesson. I don't know.
He's probably used to that though with our other kids too, in a way.
Okay, but this is the more, I think this is the more interesting conversation around here, is your interactions with Filia about reading. Because music feels like optional for most people.
Right.
But reading is
So I
different.
have this book that I've used with all the kids and teaching them how to read. And usually around the age of 6, I get her done. It's like 100 lessons and I do it and they're able to read after that. About 6 months ago, I just felt like, Filia wasn't enjoying it and it just didn't feel worth it for me to keep on pushing it with her. So I decided, let's take some time off of this and I'll come back to this later. In the last month or two, I felt more pressure inside myself. Okay, she just turned 8. All my other kids were younger than this. So I'm gonna broach this topic with her again. And she was kind of similar. She was not really that interested, but I pressured her. Again, I let her make the decision, but I pressured her. And she said, fine. I said, well, we can just do half of a lesson at a time. She goes, fine, okay. And the lessons that we've had.
Is that how you feel with me and sex? I'm like, all right, we'll just have half sex.
Probably. The lessons that we've had have been frustrating for both her and I. There's been some tears. There's been some apologies from me. I'm just like, why should I just lay off of it until she comes to me? But that's so scary for me because I feel like it's my obligation to have her read by now. But I think forward at, age 10, I don't want her to get made fun of. But then Ben said, well, we don't go to church, and you're probably okay with our kids being made fun of going to church. Not that I'm okay with it, but I wouldn't go to church just so that our kids aren't made fun of.
I feel like that's a terrible reason to parent. It's just so your kids aren't being made fun of.
So it's probably isn't even that. It's just what I feel as a parent. Like, I feel like I'm failing her, or I'm failing me somehow by not doing this checklist at around a certain time period.
I think it's so arbitrary. I mean, one of the hugest decision for me that allowed me to have freedom around school and pressure and money making was in making the decision. This is back when we took a year off school. Was would I be okay with my kids graduating if they didn't know how to read, graduating high school? Which I guess then they wouldn't be graduating high school, but
apparently I'm not okay with it.
And I decided, you know what, I'm okay with that.
I want to be okay with it.
People can be okay. Like, they're still human and they're fine.
Yeah.
And what doesn't make you a human isn't your ability to read. And our job as parents goes way beyond.
Or even a good human.
Preparing kids for the real world, or whatever that phrase is. I don't even believe that. There's no real world. There's no group of people that will ever magically accept you and validate you that stands the test of time and is important.
So as I'm talking through this with you guys, I realize I think I should lay off for 6 months at least, and then I can come back in 6 months and talk to her about it. I'm not okay with laying off for eternity. I'm like, okay, with 6 months, I can do another 6 months.
Small goals.
Small goals, yeah. Okay. All right, it's official. I'm deleting this off of my daily to-do list. So I realized that you don't really want to do reading lessons right now. Is that true?
Yeah.
So I thought, let's not do reading lessons right now. We'll just take some time off of that. Does that sound good to you?
Unless you want to.
Unless you want to. You can always come to me and say, Mom, I'm dying to do a reading lesson. But if not, we'll just take that time off.
Like, I thought, like, you were, like, when I want to do a reading lesson.
Yeah, you can let me know any day that you want to do it, and I'll do it. Okay. But I'm not going to ask you anymore, at least for a while. Okay? You can tell me. Okay?
We just finished running 6 miles. We didn't film it, so you guys are gonna have to use your imagination. But I promise we did it. Right now, because it's Tuesday night, we're going to dinner. We are going to dinner over at my parents' house. And someone in the comments recently asked about the story about how my parents ended up living right here in our backyard. We built this house for them about 5 or so years ago, and they lived in Washington and Seattle, and we were hoping that they would move out if we built it for them. And eventually they did, so they've been here now probably for about 4 years, and it's been really cool. Our kids are over here every day, probably, hanging out with them, and we do dinner over here once or twice a week. Mother, what's for dinner?
clam chowder and artisan cheese bread.
People said that they want to see you on the vlog.
Oh, they miss me.
Yep.
Dr. Agent.
Well,
What would you like to say?
say that, well, thank you for wanting to see my face.
They want to know maybe why you live here.
Why do I live here? Because I have 6 grandchildren are here.
Six or seven?
Well, was 6, but now 7 grandchildren are here. Here, would you take this, Daddy?
All right,
you.
Dad, how about you? People said they want to see more of you guys on the vlog.
Run away, run away.
As they say, money talks.
Wait. All right. If they pay? All right. You guys can leave a donation for my dad if you want to see more of him.
All donations gratefully accepted.
Tonight is Tuesday and I am hanging out with my friend Julia. We hang out almost every Tuesday night while Ben is hanging out with his guy buddies. And we talk and smoke cigars together. We both love smoking cigars. And we also discuss books that we're reading. A lot of times we're reading the same books. And I look forward to it every week. Sometimes we meet at my house, sometimes we meet at her house. When we're at my house, we're in the basement, where it's a good place for us to smoke. I'm pretty proud of this fire I have going here. And I got some drinks and treats for us upstairs. They are. I've always liked peanut M&Ms, but I've just rediscovered my love for them. Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
Julia and I had a good time hanging out together, talking about her recent vacation and how each of us have grown in certain ways and changed. And it's 11 p.m. I'm tired. See you guys tomorrow.